We are Makilala TV, the first Filipino American TV talk show in the New York metro area. Get to know us as we talk to the community leaders, innovators, advocates, and emerging artists who affect Filipino American life.
Falling in love all over again. That's how I felt when I first held my granddaughter, my Apo. It's hard to explain the feeling, but there is pure joy in holding your baby's baby. It's just magical. My precious Leah came to our lives during a pandemic, and, and our world just got better ever since. She is one happy baby who loves to giggle, run around, eat, read, play, sing, and dance. Oh, she's an absolute genius. She is my fountain of youth. We, the baby boomers, are now faced with a different parenting world compared to how we raise our own children. A lot has changed since the 80s, when I first became a mother. When I was a new mom, I worried about being deported and how to balance career and family. Now that I'm a grandmother, I worry about the kind of world my grandchildren will grow up in. In today's episode, we will discuss New Age Lola and Lolo, grandparenting in the new millennium. Joining us in today's conversation are two loving Lolo and Lola. Roger Santos, a grandfather of six, is an advocate and partner of Angat Buhay organization. And that's in partnership with Philippines Vice President Lenny Robredo. He worked for many years in the pharmaceutical industry. Vivian Talambiras-Cruz, a grandmother of three, is the consummate community leader involved with several organizations in the New York area, including the Simbang Gabi and the Homecoming sa Consolado. She organized a feeding program for children in her home province of Batangas and is involved with providing hearing aids and medical assistance to Filipino children with cleft palates. Together with my co-hosts Rachelle Ocampo and Cristina Pastor, I'm Jen Fior and welcome to Makilala TV. Welcome po. So my first question for our guest, as a grandparent in these chaotic and uncertain times, do you wonder what wisdom, if any, you can share with your younger generation while reminding yourself that it is the job of a grandchild to be a child and a job of a grandparent about, to worry about everything? So, how about you, Christina? Are you a Lola or a Lolo?
Not yet. Don't
So,
rush it.
Vivian, do you want to
Yes.
say something?
Yeah, we worry about them like you said because the times are different now than when we were growing up, and with the pandemic, with all the wars and all that, um, we don't know what kind of wisdom we have to impart on them because we really don't know what's going to happen, maybe in the next month, and all that. But we just, I'm a firm believer in prayer. So, I just pray that God will keep them safe and all of us, and that I grow old enough to be maybe 100 so I can be. I was telling my son last night that I really want to um, grow old maybe until 100 so I can still see my grandchildren get married. And so Francis said, Mom, I don't know if that's going to happen because
Wow.
I'm already 72. So, you know, but who knows? I think we have a longer lifespan nowadays. So I'm hoping that it happens to me.
Yeah, Roger, I think your grandchildren are a little older than mine. I mean, my granddaughter is only 15 months old, so the
Oh,
conversations are mostly around the wheels on the bus. So,
oh
so
yeah.
Roger, what about you?
Yeah, so I have I think a big gap. One is older. The oldest is around 21 now, and the
Oh,
youngest
really?
is around two
Oh,
months. No, I'm sorry,
oh
two
wow.
years, 2 years, and
Wow.
going to three. And so all the younger kids right now, I have no worries about that. Parents are taking care of them, and
Yeah.
in terms of molding them, sometimes we try to give an advice and after that we leave it to the parents on how they will take care of that. Um, my older one, knock on wood, he finished already his college, and he's finishing his masters now. So knock on wood.
Mhm.
Or as Bibian is saying, you don't know the future, right? It's hard right now, especially with this pandemic.
Mhm.
Christina, do you have a question for?
Yeah, I have a lot of questions, but let me start with do you talk to your kids about tough issues, tough topics like maybe bullying? Do you talk to them about the war in Ukraine? Do they ask you questions about those things?
I'll answer that first because I think
Okay.
Roger will be able to answer you more. I can't
Uh-huh.
really talk much to my grandchildren because they're only five,
Mm.
But they're
two,
in
and
school
one
leave, right?
coming. By the
Yeah.
time we have this broadcast, I'll have three grandchildren.
Oh,
Yay!
And
good.
Oh, okay.
yeah, two girls and a boy. But
Ah.
I think it's I haven't been able to talk to her about
Mhm.
the war in Ukraine, definitely.
Mhm.
But little topics probably. But I'm sure Roger, because he has a 20-something-year-old grandson,
Uh-huh.
can answer you better than I could.
But your daughter, but your apo, does she go to school? Does she experience? Has she come home saying that there's been an issue with bullying, something like that?
No.
Ah, no. Okay.
Fortunately, yeah, she started kindergarten in a
Ah,
Catholic
okay.
school.
Mm-hmm.
And when she was young, I was always worried, like with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
When my kids were growing up, I make sure that I'm in school all the time, like PTA meetings, all that, because I want to make sure they're not bullied.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, they were not. They never
Mm-hmm.
experienced bullying. And with my young granddaughter, she's very assertive. So I'm very confident that she cannot be bullied. Yeah.
So good.
Okay.
What about you,
So,
Roger?
Yes, for my older one, we talk about different things. Again, COVID, the wars, as well as politics too. So he's pretty much open.
mhm.
My oldest grandchild, and for the younger one, we normally work with with their parents.
Mhm.
My my daughter-in-law is member of the PTA, as you mentioned,
Mm.
and I think they're most of I think two of my grandchild are pretty assertive, and you know they don't get bullied. So
So, so similar
that's why
to
but you have to talk about bullying too
Yeah,
once in a while.
yeah,
It's
that's
different when we grew up, right, in the Philippines.
So go ahead, Rochelle.
Yeah, so similar to trying to explain like bullying and COVID and the war, do you talk to your grandkids about the Philippines and and your ethnic roots about being Filipino? Do you incorporate any traditions that help them become or know being Filipino?
Um, okay, I'll answer that. My family, I'm very fortunate because my balaes are also Filipinos. My daughter-in-law is a Filipina. She's a doctor, and they have the same values that I have, very Filipino. And so the first thing I taught my granddaughter was mano po, not just for us but for the elderly, and respect for them. So they're very Filipinos at heart. And in fact, my son Francis was telling me last night because she saw the questions and she said, "Mom, because of what we got from you growing up, I really, even if I was born here, I really consider myself a Filipino. And when I say I'm going home, so when he goes to the Philippines, he always says, I'm going home. So for
Oh,
him, home is the Philippines.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
I truly believe that because of what we taught them, somehow they're passing it on also to my grandchildren. And
mhm,
they eat dinuguan, they eat laing, they eat anything. And we're trying to teach them also of Tagalog
Yeah.
also. So
Ah,
I
yes.
think they will grow up thinking they're really Filipinos more than Americans.
I have a feeling when we see Vivian's Apo, they will make mano with us. The
Yes.
two of us.
Yeah.
Anyway, Roger.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Roger.
for me, we try our best to, because we taught our children about Tagalog. They can speak Tagalog, my children. For the grandchildren, they try. All they know is kumot, mano, small things.
Yeah, yeah.
And we really plan. We have a plan really for next year to go to the Philippines. It's better that they see our country,
Hmm.
and and the different ways of what we're doing things. One of the things that we taught them is how to use their hands in eating.
Ah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they try to, it's a little bit,
So they eat with their hands.
So
a little bit.
uh,
And the rice keeps on falling. So
I
Do
actually
your
have
kids,
a
do your,
follow.
oh, sorry, Rochelle, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Christine, because he was just talking about kamayan. Have you heard of this term called baby-led weaning?
Winning?
Because it's a new trend of new parents similar to me who basically, when parents determine when the baby's ready to self-feed, that means that they're able to eat solids and feed
Yeah.
themselves with their
Mhm.
hands, like Kamayan
Mhm.
style,
oh,
is purees, which is what my parents and my grandparents are like questioning my parenting style, because they're like, "Why are you gonna feed them solid foods and fruits? They're too young. They're only 6
Mhm.
months." But there's this new trend. Have you seen this with your own grandkids?
Yes.
Um,
Yes. My youngest now, I was a little worried at first, because I said you have to teach them also how to use the fork and knife and whatever.
mm,
But they're eating with their hands. And I think, as you said, that's a trend now. So I'm just following it,
Yeah.
and looking at it. As long as they eat, that's fine.
Mhm.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they eat yogurt and it's all over their face and their hands.
Yeah.
And I think Rochelle's generation, you are open in feeding the younger ones real food right in the beginning. I mean, you
Yes,
cook, you do the puree. I mean, they were eating spinach and artichoke stuff before they're even one. So I
yes,
mean, their variety of food is so much more than compared to to the Gerber bottles that we used to give our children.
exactly. Yeah, I get
So
it.
are there instances where your grandchildren, they couldn't have their way with their parents, they run to you?
What's the question, Christina?
Or it's another way of asking if you spoil your grandkids. Were there cases where they couldn't have their way with their parents, so they go to you, they run to you?
Mm, I'm very careful with that because I was warned. I was warned early
Not
on.
to
So I'm
not to
very
get it
careful.
away.
But when they're not around, then maybe I do that.
Ah, okay, okay.
yeah, same with me. That's
You
why
will put in
one of the
place.
good things of becoming a grandparent, you take your children, you spoil them. At the end of the day, you return it to the parent, right?
Wow.
I have a question to Rochelle. Your parents, they babysit Alex, right? AJ.
Yes.
And do you give them a whole list of what they have to do, like hour by the hour, before you
Uh,
can leave them?
so at first, for my parents-in-law, I did do hour by hour when he was first few months, just because it's easier to just let them know what to expect and what to do. But for my parents, have a unique situation. They have a family daycare at their house. So Alex is
Oh
not the
yeah.
only baby that they're watching, but they are also the people that I trust the most to take care
Mhm.
of him. And sometimes, many times, I think they're doing a better job than I am.
So Alex goes to your mom's daycare, Rochelle?
Yes, when Johnny and I are at work. But I do give them the basics, like no TV screen time, make sure he gets enough milk, like don't give him too much rice,
Mhm.
no pillows or blankets for sleeping when he was an infant, which was a
Yeah.
huge thing. That was like something I needed to like concretely remind them because it
Yeah.
was different in other generations.
Yeah, I remember having bumpers in the crib,
Yeah,
Yes.
and then
that's
even the
no.
way you put the baby, baby down on the crib is different now. I mean, you
Yeah,
have baby blankets now; you don't have that.
yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
and even feeding with a bottle is different. Like I was so tired as a young mother, and I was working, so sometimes I just I'm really bad. Have the bottle and then pop it up a little bit with a pillow to
Oh,
have the baby, but not every time. So don't
Yeah.
judge, don't judge. They all came out fine.
we're all learning the better ways. But
They're
yeah,
Yeah.
changing.
yeah.
Things are changing.
Yes, and then there's a ARP calls grandkids the elixir of life. So being a grandparent, are you now more conscious about your overall health?
Yes, especially me because I have a lot of ailments. So as I said before, I worry about how I will be in the next few years because I have had multiple accidents and it affected my back, and I have also been diagnosed with lupus. So, but I'm dealing with it, and I thank God every day that I'm surprised with the energy I still have,
Yeah.
despite of
Yeah.
all the ailments that I have. So I'm very grateful for that, and I'm able to take care of my grandkids and bring them to the park, and still
Mhm.
being able to carry them is very important for me.
That's
Mhm.
beautiful.
Do you ever spank your grandkids?
No, because
You
I was also
you.
warned not to.
No, no,
And you
no.
don't
That's a
and
no,
you don't
no.
say that you are spoiling him or her. I think you need a little bit of spanking. You don't.
Just wait, Christina, until you have your first
That
grandchild.
is that is the
Exactly.
old way.
No, so back to Jen's question about the elixir of life. So funny that you asked that because my mom, she suffers from rheumatoid arthritis, and I was worried, really worried, like Vivian, that the importance of holding your
Yes.
grandchild. But my mom said, like when Alex was born, almost like it disappeared. Like it
Yes.
was like not affecting her in the way. I'm getting emotional because I'm recognizing the difference between 2 years ago and now.
Yeah.
She just it changed. So I definitely attribute that to Alex.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is a
that's true.
gift. I
I
mean,
have rheumatoid arthritis too. Among the ailments that I have hypertension. But as you
Mhm.
said, I think it's rejuvenating to have grandkids, and you're surprised
Awesome.
actually with the things that you can do with them.
Mhm.
Actually, I'm surprised that I can still do the things that otherwise, I probably won't be able to do if I don't have grandkids.
How what do you do with them? What kind of activities do you engage in with them?
Well,
Vivian.
during the summer, we bring them to the park, because we're surrounded by parks here,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we do a lot of playing and,
Uh,
you know, some, and my granddaughter loves to dance and
oh.
loves to exercise. So with the mother, so she's very, very active.
Um,
So it's hard keeping up with her, but I try.
what about you, Roger? What kind of activities do you
So,
have?
like in the winter time, unfortunately, knock on wood, I have good health, and I go ice skating with them, roller
Oh
skating,
wow. Uh-huh.
fishing, um, all the
Very
different
outdoorsy.
activities. Whatever. We go to Disney, walking around.
Oh.
We're good. I mean, knock on wood. That's why I said knock on wood. Uh-huh. No ailments, nothing. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
I enjoyed with the kids.
Hmm.
yeah,
And what do you? Oh, go ahead, Jen.
I'm saying my little one's 15 months old and she's just running around and everything. So and she has a ton of energy from 9 o'clock in the morning to like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So you're like busy running around with them, going up and down and carrying. So you really I have to think that you have to continue staying, be healthy, exercise, good diet. That really
Mhm.
gives you like a motivation to keep pushing to be healthy. So go ahead, Rachelle.
Yeah, no, I other than grandkids helping rejuvenate yourselves, what is the best thing about being a Lola Lolo?
Well, for me, it's the joy that you get from them. It's immeasurable, I think. Um, it's just a different kind of feeling. And, it's like you'll drop anything that you're doing just to be with them. If my son calls, Mom, can you come? I just go. Even if I have something to do, I just go and then, you feel so happy being there,
Mhm.
even if
Mhm.
it's difficult sometimes because, of my age, but it's rejuvenating.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean,
Can
just
you can you oh, can you babysit more than 24 hours? I mean,
Um,
that's a lot of
I
energy and time
haven't.
required.
Yeah, the good thing with me is I have both parents of my daughter-in-law um,
Oh,
available.
that's nice.
Well, one has retired, and he's the one who does the major babysitting
Uh-huh, yeah.
every day, almost every day. And I'm very
Maybe closer.
fortunate that
Yeah.
they're just in Jersey City, so
Uh-huh.
we're there. My son and his wife are very lucky,
Mm-hmm.
not just to have us, but to have both sets of parents
Mm-hmm.
to help
Be
them.
around, yeah.
yeah, that's how I was when I was raising my kids. I have both my parents, my family actually on
Mm-hmm.
both sides, so I never really had to worry about yeah, babysitting or daycare. That was really a blessing for me,
It is.
and I'm waiting for my first sleepover. I'm not there yet. It's
Waiting to
just,
be
I mean,
invited.
my phone is loaded with pictures and videos of my little one. The day I go there, I take whatever pictures and videos. And then when I come home from the drive back from babysitting, I spend hours and hours the whole week until I see her again. It's just, you know what? I think it's different when you're a grandmother, a grandparent, as opposed to when you're a parent. Because now
Mm-hmm.
there's not a lot of worries going on, just a different kind of worrying. But now, like
Yeah, yeah,
you get to enjoy every minute of their growing
mhm,
days or years.
yeah. So,
Go ahead.
oh no, do do they know that they're Filipinos?
Yeah.
I know it
Do
was
they?
Yeah,
asked earlier by
yeah, I can
Rochelle.
answer
But
that.
are they
Yeah,
aware that they're Filipinos? That
yeah,
they're not just Americans, that they're Filipino
yeah. I
Americans.
think with my children, they explain to them, their roots, so they know they're Filipinos. And one of my son-in-law is half Italian, half Peruvian. So
Ah.
he explained to them too, the other ethnicity that we have, that
Mhm,
she has, and but most of the time, we explain to them, their Filipino roots.
mhm, yeah.
Yeah, the same thing with they know very well that they are Filipinos. And the good thing also, I don't know if you've heard that in PBS they are showing this Filipino family. Um, what's the name, Matthew?
Filipino family.
Jelly, Jelly, Ben, and Pongo. And
Mhm.
they have Lolo. Look it up in PBS. Jelly, maybe Jen, you can have your grandchild
Watch
because
it.
that's one of the favorite TV shows of my granddaughter, and they have the Lolo and Lola, and they speak a lot of Tagalog words.
Ah.
And what's the name? Jelly, Ben, and Pogo.
Is that an animation? Is that a
It's
cartoon
an
or?
animation, and they
Um,
have brown characters, and they
ah,
have Lolo, Lola. They have a lot of Filipino words, even halo
ah.
halo.
So
They eat
are
Ah,
your
I
halo.
see.
grandkids watching that show?
My grandkids are watching that, and
Yeah.
my eldest, she loves it, and I love watching it too.
That's
Mm.
good to know.
See? And
Yeah.
then they have another Filipino character in Nickelodeon.
Ah,
Yeah.
Blue's
Uh,
Clues, yeah.
Yes,
Josh
yes,
Josh de la
yes.
Cruz is
mm.
Pinoy,
But
and I think he incorporated Filipino characters in one of the
yes,
episodes.
Yeah.
but try to see that Jelly, Ben, and Pogo.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's
That's a
really
Mm,
really
it's a
great
good
show.
show. It's a good
Yeah.
show.
yeah.
And that's what shows like, how important representation is. You
Yes,
don't
yes.
realize how important it is to see someone like you on screen, whether it be Blue's Clues or
Hmm.
this cartoon animation. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
The the one thing that I noticed though, because with being a grandparent also is that is this could be our last question for the panel is that is sometimes maybe because I just worry a lot. Like when like in the future, I'm not sure. Like, do you talk about death? Do you think about death? Like how does that make you feel?
Um, we, I've mentioned it before. I want to live until I'm 100, but when
Do they
um
ask you questions about that, or
and what's that?
do they ask you questions about mortality?
I think in
Ah,
passing sometimes, but I want to be remembered. As someone um, whose love for God was
mhm,
strong, my love of family, love
mhm,
of my country, and I want my grandchildren to remember the love that I had for them, and it's unconditional.
mhm.
So that's
I'm sure
what.
they feel it, Viv.
What about you? What about you, Roger?
Yeah, we talk about that a lot, especially last year. No, sorry,
Oh,
2020, because of the COVID situation.
oh yeah,
Our
Yes.
whole family got COVID,
Wow.
and my
that's
son
right.
really went to the ventilator for almost 23 days.
Oh my God.
So we have to explain to my grandchildren, and they were explaining, about what's happening with his illness.
Mhm,
Because at that point in time, the doctors already we cannot see. The problem is, so we cannot see my son.
Yeah, that's the hard part. That is the touching thing, and I hate to end the episode on that note, but as always, that's it for our panel. And I think the one thing to learn is that we have to cherish life, cherish every moment,
Yeah. Mhm.
cherish being together with family. Um, so to to everyone, to our guests, cast and crew, maraming salamat. I got
Thank you.
emotional.
Thank you.
For
We
finding
cherish
us
Thank you.
every
Thank
in
day.
you.
rooms.
Every day. Thank you.
And
Thank you so
yeah,
much.
until
Thank you,
next
Viv. Thank you,
time.
Roger.
Thank you.